Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are continuing with adjectives, but we will be comparing adjectives. And when we compare, we look at how things are similar or how things are different. Now, when we compare adjectives, we look at 3 different degrees. So, if we're only thinking about one person, we're not comparing anything else, then we use the positive degree. So we're not comparing that person, that place, or that thing to anything or anyone else. We use the positive degree of adjective, and that is the adjective by itself. There's no changes made to it. Then, if we're comparing two, we use the comparative degree. Comparing more than two, we use the superlative degree. So the 3 degrees of adjectives are the positive, used when you're referring to only one, the comparative, referring to only two, and the superlative, referring to more than two. So for some adjectives, we simply add er for the comparative and est for the superlative. These adjectives are most single syllable or some 2-syllable words. So most words with only 1 syllable and some 2-syllable words form their comparative degree by simply adding an er, and the superlative degree by simply adding an est in the case of small. So for the comparative degree, we simply add er and it becomes smaller. For the superlative degree, we simply add est and it becomes smallest. In the case of bright, it's the same. We add er for the comparative and it becomes brighter, and we add est for the superlative and it becomes brightest. Hence, we have small if we're referring to one, smaller if we're referring to two, and smallest if we're referring to two or more. Bright for one, brighter if we're comparing only two, and brightest if we're comparing more than two. Now large ends with an E, and if you notice, I left the E off here because for large, the comparative degree, we drop this E and then add er. And for the superlative, we drop this E again and add est. We drop that E, so we do not have a double E. So it's large, larger, largest. And then for heavy, notice I dropped the Y because we change that Y to I, then we add er. And for the superlative degree, we still change the Y to I, then add est. So it becomes heavy, heavier, heaviest. Then for big, we double the last letter. So big becomes bigger, G-E-R, and big also becomes biggest, G-E-S-T, for the superlative degree. So again, consonant, vowel, consonant. So we double the G, then add ER. Same concept here, we double the G, then add EST. Same thing for hot. Consonant, vowel, consonant. So we double the T, then add ER, double the T, then add EST. So it becomes hot, hotter, hottest. Now let us look at some sentences and see if we can figure out what degree of the adjective we should use and how we should write the degree of that adjective based on the rules we have just learned. The first sentence says, Enid is the blank of the Robinson twins. Now the adjective is old. The word old has one syllable. We learned that if the word has one syllable, we use ER and EST. But first, we need to figure out how many persons are we referring to. It says Robinson twins. Enid is the blank of the Robinson twins. Now, if it's twins, how many persons are we thinking about? Only two. And Enid is a part of that two. So we're comparing Enid to her twin sibling, whether it's the brother or the sister. So it's two persons that we're comparing. So we need a comparative degree, which is older. So we're simply adding ER. So older. Enid is the older of the Robinson twins. And we might be tempted to say oldest because it might sound better. Enid is the oldest. However, we have to think about how many persons are we comparing. We're comparing Enid to one other person, so that's two persons we're comparing. It has to be the comparative degree. Let's look at number 2. She is the blank child in the class. The adjective is noisy. Now we are comparing she to all the other kids in the class. Now, how many kids are in the class? We can assume, because we know that normally a class has more than 2 kids. So we're comparing she to all the other kids in the class. So that is the superlative degree. So in this case, it is the one with EST. But we need to pay attention to the word noisy because it ends with AY. What do we normally do with that Y? We change it to an I. So let's write that. NOISI, and then we add EST. So she is the noisiest child in the class. Remember, we're comparing her to all the other kids in the class, and that is why we need the superlative degree, which is noisiest. Number 3. The shirt is made of the blank silk I have ever touched. Now you look at that one and see how many things is it comparing and what degree of the adjective we need to use and how we write that degree of adjective. Let's go. Pause your video as usual and try to figure it out and then come back. Let's go. The shirt is made of the blank silk I have ever touched. Now, probably you have never touched silk, but if it says I have ever touched, it is comparing to way more than 2. So don't tell yourself, oh, I have never touched silk. But in the sentence, when it's written like that, they are referring to way more than 2. So the shirt is made of the thin silk I have ever touched. What degree of adjective do we need if it's comparing to a lot or more than 2? Yes, we need the superlative degree. Now the word is thin. How many syllables do you hear? Only 1. Now, do you see at the end consonant, vowel, consonant? Yes. Do you remember what we do when we see that format? We double the last letter. So let us write THIN. The last letter is N, so we double it. Then we add EST. So the shirt is made of the thinnest silk I have ever touched. Let's move to number 4 and 5. And remember, you are doing them on your own and then you're coming back to check. Pamela is blank than Pam, and the adjective is smart. Now, we are comparing Pamela's intelligence to that of Pam. 2 persons. When it is 2, which degree of the adjective are we using? Yes, we are using the comparative degree. Now, do we use ER or EST? We use ER. Good job. So Pamela is smarter. In this case, we simply add an ER to smart. So SMARTER. Pamela is smarter than Pam. 2 persons, comparative degree. Last one. Of the 2 roads, the river road is the blank one, and the adjective is wide. Now, how many roads are we comparing? It says of the 2 roads. So we're comparing one road to another. It's only 2 roads. So the river road is being compared to another road. And it's telling us that the river road is wide. Now, of the 2, comparative would be ER, so wider. Now, how do we write wider? Remember, when the adjective ends with an E, we drop that E, so we're left with WID, and then we add ER. So, of the 2 roads, the river road is the wider one. I know sometimes it sounds like it doesn't make sense, and you might be tempted to put EST instead of ER. But just remember, look to see how many things, how many persons you're comparing. If it's 2, you're using the comparative. If it's more than 2, then you're using the superlative. Hope you got number 3, 4, and 5 correct. If you do, I want you to tap yourself on the shoulder. Always remember to praise yourself. That's it for today. When we meet again for language arts, we will be looking at other ways to compare adjectives, because there's an important one that you need to see. So remember, check back to see another way in which you can compare adjectives. This is just a part of it. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Remember to like, share, and leave me a comment. And if you have not subscribed yet, if you have not tapped that notification bell yet, you better do it now, because you need to see the follow-up lesson on comparing adjectives. See you.